Hey everyone, and welcome to another video of Terraform. My name is Tia from DevOps Easy Learning, and today we'll just be going through some useful plugins in VS Code because sometimes I know folks will go ahead and ask me, how do you usually configure your VS Code? Because sometimes when I'm writing my code, I'll have something like auto format enable, which means when I basically save my Terraform configuration file, what will happen is that it will automatically format my code to follow the HashiCorp configuration language, right? And sometimes when I'm typing also, it will go ahead and kind of suggest and say, hey, is it what you want, right? When I just start typing something, it's giving me suggestion. And also when I make some mistake, it will go ahead and kind of highlight so that I will know that, hey, it looks like something is wrong here. How did I basically configure everything? If you kind of hit this little icon here, it will take me to my GitHub repository. And I'll also make sure that I'll put a link to this GitHub repository in the description of this video so that if you want to go ahead and follow the same step, you can go ahead and do so. Right here, I basically have a couple of plugins that I usually install when I install VS Code to kind of enhance Terraform functionality, right? What are plugins? Plugins, same thing like if you know Jenkins. What is a plugin in Jenkins? A plugins is just I can call it maybe a tool that you install in Jenkins just to enhance Jenkins functionality, because Jenkins itself will not do anything, right? Let's say if you want to do something in Jenkins, you need a plugin to do that. Also in VS Code, if you want to have some features, you also need a plugin to do that. Let's say you basically want VS Code to kind of format your code on save, which means every time that you want to save, you will tap Control S, it will go ahead and format your code to follow the HashiCorp configuration language. You need to install this plugin called Terraform Format on Save. How does that work? Let me kind of open, I have just a dummy code here, and I'll go in here and kind of make some modification. Let's say you are writing your code and you put all this, and you put all this. This doesn't really follow the HashiCorp configuration language, right? We want all these things to be aligned. If I go ahead and type Control S, as you guys can see, it basically format my code automatically. And if you don't do this, if you don't know this, you will need to use a Terraform FMT command, which means Terraform format, to basically format your code to follow the HashiCorp configuration language. Now, I don't really have that time, and that is why I can go ahead and use just the plugin. As you guys can see, I mess up my entire file here, and this does not resemble, as you guys can see, can you write the code like this? This will not follow the HashiCorp configuration language, right? But check out, when I will try to save it, what will happen? As you guys can see, it format all my code, and this is really, really nice. And I really, really love this plugin, right? How can you install that plugin? Just hit here on this plugins icon here, which is here. We call this one extensions in VS Code. If you click on extensions, you can just go ahead here and copy this Terraform format on save plugin, and you guys will see that I installed that already. If I click on that, it is already installed. I can uninstall it. Yours will not be installed, and you can go ahead and click install. And as soon as you install that, you will go ahead, that will kind of enable that functionality, right, to format your code. As you guys can see here, it simply run Terraform format, and that is what I mentioned. When you install this plugin, every time that you save your code, it will simply run Terraform FMT command. And this Terraform FMT command, it is a command that you can run through the command line to format your code to follow the HashiCorp configuration language. Also, another one here is Terraform advanced syntax highlighting. I really, really love this plugin also. What is it used for? I use it for to do a lot of stuff. But how can you install that? You hit this, and you paste that plugin here, and it is the first one. As you guys can see, it is already installed, and you can see exactly what it's doing here. We see the Terraform Advanced Syntax Highlighting. It is a VS Studio Code extension that dramatically improves syntax highlighting for all this, right? Because most of the time, as you guys can see here, we have some nice color, but it doesn't only end here, right? It doesn't only end here. Every time, if you can see this, if you open Terraform, and let me open just in VS Code here. If you open one file here, for instance, let's say I type some mistake here. As you guys can see, it highlight this and say, hey, you have a mistake already. And I will just say, hey, wait a minute. If this changed already to rect, that means there is something wrong. Let's say I am trying to kind of reverse something here and it is not right. Terraform will also kind of let me know that, hey, there is something wrong in your configuration. Instead of this, I type this. As you guys can see here, advanced syntax highlighting will go ahead and tell me that there is something wrong. And I'll figure out what is wrong, right? Instead of even typing Terraform plan before I figure out the error. With this, it will help me a little bit. As you guys can see here, this is wrong. This is wrong here. It highlighted and say, hey, that is not true. What you just type now is not true, as you guys can see. And if you type Control-Z and fix it, you will not see anything here. And also, I have a couple of plugins that I usually install also. I make sure that I install the HashiCorp one and also the Terraform Studio and also the HashiCorp Terraform. And this and this one is basically the same thing. If I'm working with Azure, I also install Azure Terraform, right? And also if I'm working with Terragram, I also install a plugin that will give me the right syntax highlighting, right? That's it for this video, guys. If you want to kind of like use the same tips that I usually use here in my VS Code while writing my Terraform code and kind of twist my my Terraform configuration code and also this advanced stuff, like if you say provider, as you guys can see here, when I start typing, you say, hey, is it what you want? And in here, what provider? I say AWS, and I can say provider. As you guys can see here, you say, okay, which provider do you want? I can go ahead here and type Azure. I can type anything that I want. And if you just type resource, as you guys can see, it's asking you, what resource do you want? If you start typing AWS, for instance, and say underscore AWS, say, hey, what do you want? And it will always try to kind of suggest something, right? And this will go ahead and kind of speed up your work. And it will really, really speed up your work. Please, if you like this video, go ahead and let us know in the description below and also hit the subscribe button so that the next time that we'll publish a video, you will be notified. That's it for this video. Bye-bye.